Wise Words Wednesdays. Today's topic, are your ears open? Are your ears open? Y'all know how we do it. Let's start off with prayer. Father God, I thank you for this moment. Thank you for another day. Thank you for another chance to come before you, God, and just giving thanks to your name and reverence to your name. And God, just paying respect to who you are. God, we just thank you for everything that you've done in our life to this point, God, and we thank you that you have went forth in the future and prepared a place and prepared a path for us that we can find comfort in, knowing that whatever you do is perfect, so we don't have to worry about anything. God, I pray that you just open our ears to hear a word that you have to speak to us today, and let us benefit from it and go out and share the good news with the rest of the world. And there's all of these things that I ask in your son, Jesus' name, amen. Are your ears open? And we'll be coming from Exodus chapter 21. So it says, now, these are the rules that you shall set before them. When you buy a Hebrew slave, he shall serve 6 years, and in the 7th year he shall go out free for nothing. If he comes in single, he shall go out single. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she bears him sons and daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone. But if the slave plainly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him to God, and he shall bring him to the door and the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear with an awl, and he shall be his slave forever. Now, I have to debunk this mentality that we all have regarding what a slave is, because the Americanized slave is so far-fetched from what a slave really is. So I have to come and tell you what a slave is. The difference between a Hebrew slave back then that they're talking about in the Bible, and a slave now, or a slave back in the 16, 17, 1800s. Those were slaves that were held against their own will. They were held captive. They were sold and bought. And the Bible, even in 1 Timothy, speaks about that type of treatment to other people being evil. So God does not approve of buying and selling of another man and making them or holding them against their will, making them do what you want them to do. Like He's against that. That's the slavery that we know. But the slavery that the Bible teaches, or the slavery that the Exodus is talking about, is number one, only way you were to become a slave with the Hebrews if one person was living in extreme poverty and had nothing. So they would subject themselves to do work for another Hebrew or a friend or a brother. They would subject themselves to do work in order to receive a job to make money. That's one. Number two, a father may sell his children to a slave so that they can get work. And we do that now. We try to tell our kids, are you going to go get a job today? You're not just about to sit up here and eat my food. So that's another form of slavery. A father would sell his son or his daughter into slavery in order to give them something to do. Number four, a thief would have to, in order to pay restitution, in order to pay back what he stole, if he didn't have it to give, he would have to offer himself, and he would have to work double what he stole. He would have to work up to pay back double what he stole. Now, number three is the most interesting one though. Number three, if you were bankrupt and you wanted to come out of the bankruptcy that you are in, you would offer yourself to another master and to another, like I said, brother or another Hebrew, to be a slave for them. And this is what would happen. Number one, first of all, you're bankrupt. And even in America, if you bankrupt, instead of helping you out, they come and take the things that you couldn't pay for in the first place if you can't make the payments on it. Then your credit get bad. Then they kick you out of your home if you can't pay that. Then you starving and all this type of stuff. But in the Hebrew law, when God was giving them the law on how to treat slaves, when you were bankrupt and you submitted yourself as a slave, that slave master would take you in. Now check this out. The slave master would take you in, give you a job, give you shelter, feed you, clothe you, pay you minimum wage or pay you whatever wage he desired. But watch this. They would take away the debt that you owe. They would wipe out the debt. They would give you a job and then wipe out your debt. I know a lot of people that's listening right now. If you had a job that said, I'm going to pay you $60,000 a year and I'm going to wipe away the $200,000 that you owe, man, it's no hesitation you taking it. Because one reason that we get jobs is to pay our bills. But anyway, we're going to move on from that point. And so now you have somebody that was bankrupt offering themselves up to be a slave, offering themselves up to, hey man, I work for you, and the slave master will give him a job. They'll give him this, they'll give him that. Verse 4, it said, if his master gives him a wife, and she bears him sons and daughters. Pause. So that means the slave master has the freedom, has the liberty to provide a wife for the man that he came, that submitted himself to work for. So now it's more of a, you done gave me a job, you done gave me this, you done gave me money, you done gave me minimum wage, you done wiped away my debt, and now you're giving me a woman, and I can have kids by her, and I can still work for you, and I can do all of this. But then it says, but if the slave plainly says, I love my master and I love my wife and my children, I will not go out free. And that's simply saying that he has the ability to choose whether or not he want to stay over, whether he want to go. Now, me, if this slave master has given me everything that I needed, brought me out of bankruptcy, I would be a fool to walk out on somebody that just gave me all of this. I would be a fool to somebody. I would be a fool if somebody blessed me like this and I said, man, you know what? My 6 years are over. I'm out. I'm leaving. That would be a fool. But if he says, I love my master, that was first. I love my wife. I love my children. I will not go out free. Then his master shall bring him to God, and he shall bring him to the door and the doorpost. And his master shall bore his ear through with and all, and he shall be his slave forever. Man, look, there are so many of us that were bankrupt. There are so many of us that our souls were dead. There were so many of us that didn't know which way to turn. But when we found ourselves in that state, we said one thing. We said, God, I'm going to submit myself to you. I'll be your servant. I don't have anything to give. And God, being the perfect slave master that he is, said, you know what, don't worry about it. I got something for you. Matter of fact, I created a purpose before. I created a purpose for you before I even created you. So I got a job for you. And then don't even have to worry about the job, because if you walk in my purpose that I have in your life, the job is going to bring you resources. And don't worry about the woman that you don't have or the man that you don't have, because if you seek me first and all of my righteousness, I'll add all of these things unto you. So the woman is coming, the husband is coming, and he did all of these things. Him being a perfect slave master, he brought us out of bankruptcy and brought us into a perfect life that he deems perfect. Not that we don't see it as perfect, but he said I'm perfect. I created this life for you. We might not make perfect decisions, but his will for our life is perfect. And not only that, he wiped away the debt. And when you wipe away the debt, that means you, first of all, you were bankrupt, so you didn't have anything to offer God. You didn't have nothing to offer him. There was nothing that you could have did on your best day. I don't care if you didn't sin for the next 30 years. It was not enough to pay off the debt that you owed to God. So what did he do? He said, I'm going to wipe away my debt. I'm going to wipe away your debt. How did he do it? He sent his son to pay a price that we couldn't pay. So now, the slave terminology is twisted and it's shifted, or it should be in your mind, because now we have a different view on what slaves really are, or what they really were. And he gave them the law after he brought them out of Egypt, because Egyptians mistreated the Hebrews. They enslaved them contrary to what God really ordained slaves to be, which is why when he brought them out, he said, man, I know where you came from. I know how they treated you, but if y'all gonna be slaves, y'all gonna do it my way and not the way of the people of the land that I just brought you out of. You ain't gonna do it like that. If you're gonna follow me, you're gonna do it the right way. But my question is, why wouldn't you follow God? Why would you turn away after he has given you a job, after he has wiped away your debt, after he has fed you, after he has clothed you, after he gave you the things in this life that you asked him for, and gave you a wife and sons and daughters to carry on your legacy? Why would you turn away from that? But it's people that do it. I don't see how you can experience the love of God and turn away from it. Go to Psalms 40 verse 6. Psalms chapter 40 verse 6 says, "In sacrifice and offering you have not delighted, but you have given me an open ear. Burnt offering and sin offering you have not required." Listen, I gotta know, God wants to know if we have an open ear. We might perceive this to be an open spirit to understand him or to receive his guidance, his counsel, which is true. But see, when the slave went to the master and said, "I'm going to serve you and I'm going to be with my kids. I love my master. I love my kids." He was saying, "Man, you've been so good to me. I can't go nowhere else." And so when he made that decision, the master took him to the doorpost and he pierced his ear with an awl. So basically what he's saying, whenever he goes out, people will know who he belonged to because of the hole that is in his ear. People will know who he belonged to because of an outward expression of what happened internally first. A lot of people think, many Christians want to live life in a way that they look like they are representing God physically. They have the hole in their ear physically. You raise your hands physically. You bow down physically. You serve physically, but spiritually nothing is happening. So what the servant did, notice he said, "I love my master, I love my wife, and I love my kids. I'm going to stay." He made it up in his mind to serve. He made it up in his spirit to serve his master first. Then as a result of that, his master said, "Since you have made it up in your spirit to dedicate yourself to me, I'm going to do something physically for you. I'm going to brand you so all the world can see that you belong to me." God is waiting for you to submit to him in a way that when he elevates you, when he brings you out of a situation, it's not just going to be for you to see, but for wherever you go, people are going to be able to know that you belong to him because of what he has done for you. That's the power of serving God. So I gotta ask, what are you a slave to? What has marked your ear? What is worrying you? What is the thing that is causing you to go into a panic? What is the thing that bothers you the most? Because whatever that thing is, what are the things that you are chasing in this life that has no value? Because whatever that is, that's what you are a slave to. So I don't care who you are. Anybody that is watching this video, hear me when I say this. You are a slave to something. You are a slave either to your kids, you are a slave to money, you may even be a slave to your own self. Pleasing your self desires over what God has desired for you. You a slave to yourself. I encourage us that when we offer up ourselves to a master that has gotten rid of every debt that we have ever owned, that we accumulated, man, I hope that we submit internally first before we try to ask him something in return externally that we feel like we need, but we really just won't. Because the master is going to do what he wants to do when you submit to him spiritually. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, then all of these things will be added unto you. Seek ye first the kingdom. Are your ears open? And if so, what are you a slave to? God, I thank you for a moment. God, I thank you for a word that penetrates us further than what we can understand. God, I pray that you just allow this word to get into our spirit first, so that what is in our spirit can manifest itself physically in this life that you have called us to live. God, we don't want to just look like we're serving you. We don't want to just look like we are doing everything right. We don't want to look like we are giving you the glory outside and nothing happens inside. God, transform our physical appearance, our physical expression of our love for you, so that it will match spiritually what is going on when we have bowed down to you and submitted to you and made a decision to serve you for the rest of our life, God. We don't serve you because of the things that you do for us. We don't serve you because of the things that we need, God. We serve you and we submit and we praise you and we respect you for who you are. Because who you are is who we long to be. God, I thank you for this moment, God. I thank you for everything that you have done for us, God. And as we go out, help us to serve you first. Help us to lift you up. Because you said in your word that you'll draw all men unto you if we lift you up. Help us to lift you up without opening up our mouth to do it. God, and I just thank you for everything. God, I thank you for who you are. And I pray that the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart from this day forward be pleasing and acceptable unto you. And it's all of these things we ask in your son Jesus' name. Amen. Who will you serve? Yourself or God? You choose. If you like what you heard, subscribe to my YouTube channel, God First Label, Instagram, God First Label, Facebook, Sheridan Forte.